So here we are in 2023, and 2022 just disappeared on me, to be fair. Not much fishing at all, work and home life, as is normally the case, especially when you start getting to the age I am now. It tends to take over. So yeah, I had a fairly decent 2022, to be fair, with the bit of fishing I did, quite successful. Nailed another UK 50, which I had started to film. I actually caught it while filming, but later found out that the owner of Grenville had banned the vlogging work, so I wasn't able to use that footage at all. So I haven't been doing a right lot to the back end of the year, a few socials and things like that, but I thought I'd kick this year off a little bit different and make some time for myself and get out on the bank a little bit more. And that's led me to having 3 or 4 sessions so far down at Selby. So this is my local syndicate. As you know, it's 15 minutes away from my house, so fairly easy, straightforward to get to, and I can keep quite in tune with the lake itself. Idea being is, if I do get chance to get longer, sort of more time on the bank, longer sessions, I can trip off down to the likes of Grenville and yeah, go do some session fishing up and down, enjoy moving around a little bit and doing a little bit like that. So I'm 4 sessions in now down at Selby. I started in the 2nd week of Jan, and definitely 4. I think this will be my 4th session. So not had anything as yet, but the lake has bizarrely been fishing, which for this lake it generally doesn't kick off until sort of back end of March. You know, it's one of those waters where once it does cool, it takes quite a long time for it to wake back up and get a bit warmer. But there's definitely fish moving. My first session down, I was on the opposite side of the venue, and I could see fish in a swim where a guy had managed to nail a couple of fish up to 32, which was nice to see. And the lake has been very busy. It's normally absolutely dead this time of year. I'm talking like you're the only one on. Even on a weekend, I've turned up here on a weekend in winter before, and you literally are the only person on. So yeah, it's all about giving it a bash as and when I can, keep it local, get back into the bits of overnight work and stuff that I can do. It's not a brilliant night water, I think I mentioned that on my previous blog, but with recent stockings over the past 6 to 8 years, it did start doing a few more fish during the night. I just think these different fish, they often tend to sit in the same habits, but I'm believing there's 2 or 3 groups of fish that tend to start to move about and feed a little bit differently. So what we would anticipate the areas of lakes to be waking up this time of year, fish are actually coming from other areas. So I'm currently sat in a swim called Twin Oaks. I actually fished this on Thursday night. It's Sunday now, but I came down Thursday night and I think there was 9 anglers on, and I mean it's only a small lake. It's only 8 acre max with 15 fishable swims, I think there is. So with 12 anglers on it, that's considered, you know, full. It's pretty rammed out with 12 on, and like I say, I got down here, there was 8 or 9 anglers on, and a fish had been seen by a friend of mine in this swim or nearby, so I decided to jump in here. It was free, there was nobody either side, and yeah, I had a weird drop back. Don't think it was a bream. There's a few bream in here, but I definitely don't think it was a bream. I was fishing on the top of the bar, I had a single bleep up and then a massive savage drop back down, and yeah, the lead had come off and dropped to the bottom of the shelf, so I do believe it was a carp. That was the spot that I'd actually baited. The other 2 I was just fishing bags, tight canopy work, you know, under a lot of marginal coverage. This is what you have to do, you know. It's on the short chucks, but you know, you really have to get the leads under the under the canopy of the islands and into the areas where the snags are to get them up on the shelf a little bit. But that spot was actually done with just an open water spot on an old bar, and I'd put around 6 bombs of bait out of that, and then just before I was leaving the next morning I just put another 3 or 4 out. And incidentally, the only fish that's been out this weekend, to I believe 11 anglers on, was out of this swim off that area, so they were definitely here. So I thought I'd let the Sunday rush go by, let everybody get out the car park. Turned up, lake was empty. I think there's one other guy just turned on, so there's 2 of us got it. And this is, again, it's about planning. You know, I used to do a lot of these overnighters. This has always been my style of fishing, and doing these overnight type things, you learn your little different tricks on venues, and when venues aren't as busy, and when you can actually you know, work the water a little bit easier. So yeah, I thought come down Sunday. It's a rota based syndicate, so once you see like a big bulk hit the weekend, you generally see Sunday, Monday, Tuesday pretty quiet. So yeah, turned up here, nobody on. Got back in the swim I was in on Thursday, where it's only done that 1 fish, and I have blasted 3 zigs out at 4 foot. Tends to be the going area. The bar's 7 foot, so we've got a little bit that drops down to 8 where I put the bait out. So I've gone for all 4 zigs at 4 foot at the minute, and I did actually, the first rig I cast out, which was my left-hander, which is the very end of the bar, I hit a fish on the way down which was definitely mid-water, and that's the reason I've set them all at 4. I just sort of felt the drop was about halfway where the lead clattered the fish, so I didn't see any reason of putting them up or down. Probably going to leave at least 2 of these out tonight on zigs. They do frequent this bar up and down, sort of goes up the centre of the lake, and they do follow it up and down. And then I'll probably put one on a bag on some bait a little bit later. So yeah, this is going to be a series of sessions hopefully, and at some point I should start getting into a few fish. I've got nice few hours of daylight today to keep having a look round and seeing what's happening, and then I don't have to be off the lake till about 9 o'clock in the morning, which is your general bite time is 9. Between 8 and 9, I believe that's what time the guy had it in the fish this morning before he left. It was around about the 8 o'clock mark, so fingers crossed can nick one on a zig first, and then hopefully maybe nick one on a bait first thing in the morning before we go. And yeah, I'm just going to keep you up to speed with what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, trials and tribulations of fishing a small intimate syndicate with quite a few members on it, and yeah, log the rest of my fishing as we go. So we're back at it, which is a great thing, and try and get my work and life balance a little bit better so I can get out on the bank a little bit more, just like everybody else has to do. And I'll touch on that as we go, you know, the issues with everybody at work, and you know, the home life and stuff, and balancing your fishing, and try and sort of show you how I do that and how it works for me. We can't all be long-term, full-time anglers and stuff, so we just have to take it as it comes. So yeah, I'll just keep you up to speed as we go. We'll go tie a few bags up ready for tonight, and put a bit of bait out and see what happens. Well, that is certainly not the biggest fish, but what a cracker. That is absolutely mint. Black. It's got a little red marking on its tail. It's just an awesome, awesome looking fish. So yeah, as you can see, this is the first one this year, 2023, out my syndicate. It's February, still absolutely bitter cold is that water. I've done 4 sessions so far, lost one last Thursday night, came back down, got back in the same swim, and I've gone straight back out there with the same tactics. That's the bug and insect meal crayfish bags with a light coloured crayfish wafter, and yeah, got my first fish of the year. Came last night, and bang, what an absolute cracker. Small but an amazing creature, and you've just look at that, it's mint. So well buzzing with that, well buzzing with the fact that I'm starting to sort of get into them, finding them a bit. Been a bit of a struggle, but we're away now, there's no stopping us. Awesome. Well, just got down to the lake and it's blowing a hoolie. The storm's just kicking in now. So I managed to get off work a little bit earlier, just get down here just mid-afternoon, so I can get set up and yeah, get a bit of bait out, and then I've got to shoot off for sort of tea time for a couple of hours, as I mentioned earlier. But one awesome thing about this, because it's Monday as well, is the car park is empty. So there's only my van here. I think one of the other lads is probably due down, but yeah, get the choice of swims, and this wind, yeah, really hammering in. Like I said though, we've only had a brief bit of decent weather, so it's only sort of come in the last sort of 24 hours, so it's been freezing before that. And with this being a bit of a deep lake, you know, you're averaging 12 foot. It's not like it's a big gravel pit where they're really going to get on the front of it, but that's where we're heading. We're going to head on the front of the wind, either this side or that side, and hopefully this low pressure just gets a few fish feeding. So yeah, we'll keep you up to speed, but always excited on a big low. So let's go find a swim. Right, so I'm just sheltering from the rain. Basically found the fish, well, seen a couple of fish down here. A real nice mid-20s just topped out on me walk around, right on the front end of this wind, and incidentally just in front of the same swim that I fished last week or the week before, I think. Yeah, the week before, when I had that lovely mid-double. So I've jumped in Twin Oaks again, gives me access to that bar, that central bit, and they're definitely up here. The weather's absolutely spot on. Like I say, we've already seen one, which is a real good sign for this place this time of year. Incidentally, it's the exact same time of year when I had the hit out of here, but just on the opposite side. Sort of same access to the similar sort of water, but yeah, dropped on them then, so hopefully we can drop on them now. Just, yeah, quick overnighter, but like I say, I'm literally going to set up. It's raining quite heavy now, and I'm going to get some bait out there, and then I've got to scoot off and go sort the kids out. The wife's at work. She's got a couple of hours before she gets done, so if I get home, get the kids sorted, and she'll be back for 7ish, half 6ish, 7ish at the latest. At least I've got some bait out there. The rods will be clipped up, ready to go. Got the marks sorted out in here where I caught from last time, in a good area of where these fish are. And yeah, then I can enjoy the night. So absolutely buzzing for it when it's like this, you know. It's really moody, rain's coming in real nice, nice wind, and there's just that big slumping pressure drop, which just started to creep over us last night, but it's at its lowest peak tonight, which I think it's 979 from sort of 120s, 130s it was last week. So yeah, so I'm going to go get sorted, bang some bait out, and I'll catch up with you later when I've finally got my rods out and settled for night. But I'm buzzing for it. Right, so it's time to get off home now, and yeah, I don't really want to be leaving it when it's like this, but you know, causing a bit of disturbance in the swim, so the bait's out there, I've put about probably about 2.5 to 3 kilo of 12 and 8 mil bug, and then it's been soaked in some bug liquid food, some Calanus, and then a right good coating of the insect meal, so it's all gone nice and gummy. So that's gone out there. I've moved my right hand spot over a little bit because it seems like the weed's starting to come up on the bar. So one of those spots is 6 foot, the other one's 7. The 6 foot is coming back with a little bit of weed there. So yeah, what I've done is just flipped them slightly to the left a bit. I'm going to fish all 3 rods on a spot, but yeah, I'm all ready to go. The rain's on and off at the minute. It's really nice and moody. Really don't want to go home, but it gives chance just to rest the swim up as well. And hopefully by the time I've got back, a few fish might have moved into the swim. So yeah, everything's ready to go. Two solid bags and 1 on a stick. And yeah, 2 or 3 kilos of bait out there. Just hope to get on the munch. I'm still a little bit tempted of whether it should have gone in a little bit deeper water over there, but you know, I'm adamant they're up this area. I'm adamant they're on this wind, and that bar being 6-7 foot still, and the normal spot fish at the other side is between 11 and 12. If they are there, I'll see them, and it's a quick barra push round. I know the spot round there, and I can get some bags straight onto them in the middle of the night if needs be. So anyway, it's time to get off home, so I'll give you a rundown of what's happening as soon as I get back. Gonna have some tea, sort the kids out. Right, job done, and it's time to crack on now, go get some rods back out. So yeah, kids are all happy, hot chocolate, wife's finished her work. Just coming up 7:30, so yeah, should be back lakeside for 8, cast out for 8:30, and yeah, wind's died down a little bit, rain's still here, there's pressure still hanging low, so hopefully these fish will have moved on to us, and we can nick a bite or 2 tonight and enjoy this little bit of weather. So yeah, I'm going to get out there. It's absolutely pitch black, so glad I clipped up, got everything marked up. Should be able to get them straight out first cast, hopefully. So yeah, be back lakeside soon. So morning guys, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and pretty uneventful night, which a little bit surprised about, you know, with the weather and stuff, but it's still March, still got to drop on them and drop on them properly. A couple of liners, both middle and left rod on the clearer area of that bar, but there was also a fish still showing just on the left hand side of the boundary, but yeah, over 15-16 foot of water, but it's just it's just something you don't really you don't really catch fish over, so you know, it was one of those. I still think I was on the right spot for any fish down in this area, and the odd fish were still moving about, but there's nothing saying that's just going to drop down and have a feed, but yeah, the weather looked bang on for it, and I've reacted to it, and that's what you've got to do in these situations. So as I say, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'm probably going to be packing up in the next hour, try and get on the road for sort of 6:30, and then I'll be Leeds bound today for a meeting, and then back to work this afternoon. Gear's absolutely wet through, it has trashed it down all night long. So yeah, it's going to be a wet pack up. It was a cold night as well, weirdly. There were a lot of rain, but very cold as well. So must have got down to probably 2 degrees, 1 degree last night. The wind did stop, started to edge round as a westerly a little bit. So yeah, surprising, but not totally shocked, you know. Still mid-March, but yeah, it's just one of those things. So I'm going to give it another hour, have a coffee, get this wet gear packed up, plod off home, and see what this weather's looking like for the next week, and then see whether I'm heading down here or scooting off somewhere else on my next session. But I'm sure I'll see you on that one very soon. So yeah, I'll crack on, mull it over, and try and figure out why, which is always the question. But yeah, just got to keep going, guys. Got to keep going. Effort, reward, no matter what. Right guys, just finished work and it's Tuesday, and yeah, the weather's looking pretty good. So I chucked the gear in the car last night, and I'm going to head down to Selby on my way back. So I'm over in Hull. I've had back-to-back meetings all day, and yeah, I've managed to get off just a little bit early, but I've got an hour's drive ahead of me to get down to the Syndicate. I think it did a couple of fish at the weekend, so hopefully, fingers crossed, this bit of better pressure, better weather, and the fact that they're moving about, I might be able to nail one. So I've got a busy day tomorrow, but yeah, all being well, I can try and nick a bite tonight, or at least get on them or somewhere near them, find out what these fish are up to. So yeah, journey down the motorway, M62. Hate the M62, but blast some tunes on, and yeah, I'll update you when I get there, see how it's looking. So motorway we go. Right, so the rods are out now. About an hour to get back from Hull. No traffic, so nice steady run down. And yeah, pretty easy day really. So a few meetings to knock out today, back to back. I managed to get off for 3 o'clock, so got Lakeside for 4, which is always a bit of a bonus. A little bit of a low pressure dropping in again tonight, and there was a few fish out the weekend, including a new 30. So I think that's 4 30s the lake's done in the past 3 months, but there's still another 4 or 5 known 30s, including the 2 bigger ones that still haven't been out, and I think they're definitely due. A few more lads on tonight. It was a bit busy last night. The lads are finding the fish now. They're well on the move. They're cruising here, there and everywhere, and they're finding them in these margins on this side. So I've just backed off where the pressure was last night, and I've got into a swim known as the Point, and yeah, I've had a decent session out of here before, which I've mentioned once or twice. So there's every likelihood that if the fish do back off the bit of pressure that's on the front of them, that I might nick a bite. So I've got 2 rods on one spot, and I intentionally tried to find the clay Clay this time of year is a massive carp magnet and something that, yeah, you should certainly look for if you can find it. It's not about weed beds and things this time of year, they're just not up there yet. So clay is something that I always go for. And yeah, the bar in front of me, it's got a few bits of areas that are a little bit gravelly, a couple of areas are a bit silty, and I found that solid piece of clay on my middle rod. So I've got my middle rod on the clay, my right hand rod is just at the side of it, and then I've actually put one into the far island snag, just punched it in a hole just on the base of the first ledge. So it's in about 7 or 8 foot of water, and instead of spomming, I've just literally gone straight out with 15mm bug, straight out the bag. This time of year I always try and get them cruising around, and you'll find that when they're waking up and having a bit of a feed, they do actually like to just cruise around and pick some. You know, they've been pretty immobile most of the winter. As soon as this warmth comes in, with 15 degrees at the minute, being a nice warm wind, they're wanting to get out and moving around. So concentrating a lot of bait on a spot can sometimes work against you. So I've sort of hedged my bets with another rod, which has literally just gone out on an inch stiff rig, 15mm heavily soaked bug pop up, and I've put about 8-9 baits round it, just literally dropped them round it. And then this one, I think I've put over these two rods, I've put probably 40 baits, something like that, but on a nice big spread. So yeah, it's due to get very windy tonight. I think there's a 40-mile-an-hour wind coming over, which might just drive them up to this corner. I've just spoke to 2 of the lads that were on last night, and they've said that it was early hours in the morning, the fish were boshing all over. Incidentally, right over the bar where I was fishing last week, on that big pressure dropped and blanked. But those lads have jumped on and got round there, so I didn't want to put too much pressure on the bar. So I'm at the side of the bar, I've got the back end of the bar where the snag is, and I've got a free swim just down here where the fish could possibly drive into. So I'm going to keep my eyes peeled tonight, get up and down the margins and have a scope about, see where they are, if they're popping up at all. But I'm pretty confident for a bite. As I say, things like this on these nights, not a massive night water, and with daylight hours turning now, this lake will start to become a day dominant bite. Winter time, you can get a fair few during the night, but it's going to start turning to its usual bite times, which are the sort of 8-9 o'clock in the morning, midday, and then into late evening. But you've always got a chance between sort of that 10 and 2 o'clock mark, which I do reckon I'm going to nail one. It'd be nice to get one of the 30s before the summer, so that's my target, to try and nail the 30 out of here before summer. Hopefully it's the big common, that's the one I want, alongside a couple of mirrors that I really do want out of here. One's actually not a 30, it's a sort of upper 20, but it's a real old looking fish, and yeah, one of these things has got lots of character, and I'd love to have it in the bottom of my net. So yeah, we'll just yeah, crack on, see how we go. Got my first green tea coming down me, got a nice steak for tonight, and hopefully we have an early bite and then I can nail another one. But be up and off in the morning, busy day tomorrow, so I'll be jumping up and off. I'm going to probably try and hold on till about 7, half 7, see where the fish are, if they're showing around for next time, but I doubt whether I'll be able to stay much past there. And yeah, so I'm going to finish this, tie a couple more stick insects up. That's what's gone out there. I've got 2 fluoros on these middle rods. One's on a white, one's on a yellow, and both have got little bags on them. And I think that one of those is going to do me a bite. I think that might do me an early morning bite under that snag if the crew's back round there, but pretty confident that this little bar, clay bar, is going to do me a bite on one of these little stick insect bags. And here's hoping. I'll take a look at that. A lovely, perfect zip linear, just tad over £20, perfect linear both sides, and it's just come just on dark from that rod that I've put over in on the island there. She's still full of fight, but yeah, what an absolute cracker to start the session. And it's always nice to get that first one on an overnighter. Pressure's off now, chill and relax, get this rod back out underneath this island canopy on a fresh bug 15mm glugged up corker. Let's have another. Well, pack up time as normal, so 6 o'clock, and yeah, need to try and be out the gate for no later than 7 really. Busy day again, but yeah, we had that fish early on, and I lost another one at about, I think it was about 3:30. Middle rod, the one on the clay that I mentioned before, and that was on a milky malt. I'd had a couple of liners on it sort of just before midnight, and then I saw a fish just before I got my head down for the night, and a very weird quick take that, you know, smashed the bob into the top, dropped back, and then when I hit the rod I had to pull a lot of slack in, so it obviously hit and then come off the bar and dropped. But I'm playing around with a new lead setup and a new rig and hook pattern at the minute. Well, it's not a new rig, it's more the hook pattern that I'm using. There's don't really mess around with my hooks much, but I've been looking for a style of hook for some time now, and a new one's come available from Fox, and it just took my fancy, so I'm just having to play around with that to incorporate that into my general rig work. And yeah, I've been playing around with another lead setup. Whether that's contributed, I don't know, it's too early to tell. It's first time out with them, and yeah, we'll just see how that goes. We lose some, you know, it's just part of fishing. Can't hook and land everything, but I'm more than happy with that result. You know, nice 20 linear, absolutely mint little £20 fish, and to lose another one and see a couple down here. I now know they're moving about. Spring's in the air, we're a week away from the main start of spring, and it's exciting times from here on out. So yeah, I think that will conclude my sort of January, February, March down here. I'm probably going to nip away next week and have a couple of days away if I can manage it. Don't know where I'm going yet, but I'm going to have a blast round somewhere, and then it'll be first week, second week of April when I restart down here. 1st of April sees the rota start on here, so it's a rota based syndicate where you have 1 weekend on, 1 weekend off, but I can fish all midweek. Generally only do midweeks here and my overnighters anyway, and it's definitely going to get a little bit strange in terms of the bite times. I think we're going to start going back to the normal spring summer bite times, which are your early morning, where you're really up against it for a chance of a nighttime bite. They still do happen, and you can have 1 or 2, but I'm guessing it's going to be a lot of daytime bites coming up shortly, especially as the weather starts to change. So my plans will change slightly, where I'll try and get a little bit more work done, maybe drop on later on a night so I can work on a little bit more, and then try and stay on for one of the main bite times in the morning, which is between 8 and 9 o'clock. So yeah, I'm going to go get packed away. I've got a coffee to finish. I've got half an hour of sat watching the water a little bit, spray a bit of bait out with a throwing stick, keep a little bit of bug trickling in now over the next few months, and yeah, I'll hopefully see you on the next sessions, which will be the start of spring.